Welcome to the Good for Others show. I'm your host, John Valencia, and with me today is Darlene Casio from Goodwill. How are you today?
I'm doing great, John. So happy to be with you here today.
It's great to have you. Darlene is currently the Director of Marketing Communications at Goodwill Industries of San Diego County. She is skilled at developing and implementing strategic marketing plans to drive traffic, scale for future growth, and build deeper brand relationships. As a self-proclaimed data nerd, she loves digging into the analytics to find out what is working and what needs tweaking to improve performance. So welcome, Darlene.
Thank you, John, for having me.
To kick off today's show, I'm going to ask you a few lightning round questions so everyone gets to know you a little better. How does that sound?
I'm ready.
All right. Would you rather explore outer space or the depths of the ocean?
Ooh, I think the depths of the ocean. I think, we have tools for that.
That's true.
So I might feel a little safer. And I think, sea creatures and wildlife really get me excited. I just love them.
That's great. If you could only have one dessert forever, would it be cake or ice cream?
Oh, my.
Why?
Yes, that is a really hard one. I think that cake. Definitely cake.
Okay.
And if it has lemon in it, even better.
Oh, okay. Would you prefer to always be 5 minutes early or always be 5 minutes late, but perfectly dressed?
Oh, I would really rather be 5 minutes early. That's my goal, my life goal. I strive for that. And of course, be dressed. But I actually, believe it or not, John, have become very punctual.
I love that. If you could only experience one season all year, would you pick summer or winter?
Summer. I love the heat.
If you could teleport, would you go to the past or the future?
You're often told don't live with regret, don't go back. But there are certainly things in my past that I would love to go back and change. And I think that those opportunities, we'll never have, but they could definitely change the trajectory of your life.
That's true. Yeah. Would you prefer to never sleep or never need to eat?
Oh. I'm a bit of a night owl.
Oh.
So I think if I never had to sleep, I could probably be good with that. I probably would be incredibly productive.
Right? All those hours in a day you could
That's
use.
right. But food, oh no, I don't know. I love food.
Yeah, me too. It's fun. Okay, and on a more serious note, who or what inspires you?
Oh, it may sound like such a cliche, but my mother really inspired me. She came to the United States as a 16-year-old after losing her father. Her mother was American, so she came to America with her stepmother. And, it was so important to her to assimilate, to really become an American. She became an entrepreneur and became a very successful business owner. And, just really made a positive impact, ironically enough, working with people with disabilities.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of like full circle.
Full circle.
What kind of business did she have?
She had home care facilities for people with disabilities.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I know some things about you, but I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. All right. So before we jump into the topic today, tell us a little bit about your background.
So I'm a San Diego native. I've been here my whole life. I grew up in Pine Valley, so in the eastern mountains of San Diego County. I graduated from UCSD, and then as a Goodwill ambassador, I did my MS at National, and I am married and have 3 now adult children. My baby's away at college, and my oldest is married and they have their first child.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're a grandma.
I'm Mimi.
You're Mimi. I love that. How was being Mimi?
Oh, it's just spectacular. So carefree, such a different experience from being a parent where you feel a huge sense of responsibility and you want to protect them from everything. Of course, I want to protect her too, but the time I spend with her is really just pure joy.
How old is she?
She's 1.
Oh, so
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
that's great. So tell us a little bit about, what has been your biggest influence on your career?
You know, I think that there have been a few different individuals that have really impacted my career and my path. My first boss, who is the CEO of a biotech called Ambus, Steve Kenny, was really opening to listening and supporting me in anything that I wanted to do and learn. And then the second group, it was two men at the Gable Group, Tom Gable and Scott Allison, both again incredibly supportive and very progressive for their time. I had my first child when I was there, and they gave me a flexible remote work schedule to keep me on the team. And I think at that time people weren't doing that, so it was amazing. And then my current boss, Tony Gippen, I think really one of very few female leaders that I've had. She has been also, really willing to support me in my education and taking risks when I, present ideas that maybe seem a bit outrageous, and so that's really that's the impact that I've experienced throughout my career. It's mostly been people.
Mm. And it sounds like what you were seeking or what you've appreciated is having support.
Absolutely. I think it really makes all of the difference, because if people trust you and they're willing to give you chances, you can really stretch and grow and scale your brand. We really have seen so much growth at Goodwill, and I think a lot of that has been dependent upon uh, not only careful risk taking, but also trust.
Yeah. So for a lot of people working in the nonprofit space, we all kind of fell into it. How did you get into this space and find Goodwill and start this career with them?
So I think what led up to that was my prior nonprofit experience. I was the marketing director for San Diego Junior Theater, wonderful organization in Balboa Park, such amazing and talented kids. You wouldn't believe it. So if you haven't seen a show there, you really need to. And from there, I ended up kind of in the. I went to a startup in the environmental space.
Mm.
So they would take a waste and turn it into cellulose. Use cellulose fibers to create panels that you could build things with.
Oh.
So very interesting. And so I used to go to the CRRA conferences, the trade shows, and I think I went to two or three, and right next to our booth was the Goodwill booth. Because, of course, so much of what we do at Goodwill is sustainable. And so we got to talking, and they kept encouraging me to apply for the marketing director position that was going to come available at some point. So it was fierce competition. 4 months later, 3 interviews, and they hired me.
Mm.
And so I've been there 9.5 years now.
And what would you say is, as a director of marketing, what's your favorite aspect of what you do every day?
Definitely working with my team. I have such amazing, creative, and collaborative people on my team. They inspire me every day. And, also positioning the brand, really providing clarity around our purpose and our mission. So many people really still don't understand why we exist.
Right.
And so getting that message out there and letting everyone know that our social enterprise, our donation centers, our retail stores are important, but they are there to fuel our mission, which is to provide job training and employment to people with disabilities. So it's really exciting, John. We employ right now 1,260 people. 58% have a disability or other barrier to employment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's delve into a little bit more about Goodwill, because I think most people see, okay, I've got some clothes to donate or household items, like I'm going to go and give it to Goodwill, but you're doing so much more. And so there's a workforce piece to it. Tell us about some of that. It's kind of exciting stuff what you're doing.
Well, so the workforce piece, which is the most exciting part of what we're doing, yes, there's a great majority of people who know us as a place to donate, to drop off your stuff. And then, of course, the people who like to shop with us, especially right now during Halloween season, big time for people to become familiar or know our brand or return to us. The other part is our 6 community employment centers, and we now have a mobile employment center, which is really exciting. So what's happening there is that you can come to us if you're a veteran, if you're a youth or young adult, if you have a disability or other barrier to employment, other barrier meaning maybe you have a language barrier, maybe you've been in an abusive situation, maybe you've been incarcerated, maybe you've gone through rehabilitation. We are going to give you an opportunity to start your career, to get those soft skills and that job training so that you can move up within our organization or join another organization and move up. And, so whether people move up within the organization or they leave us, it's cause for celebration.
How many Goodwills are there?
So retail stores, we have 28 in the county. And this last summer, we opened our first retail store in El Centro in the Imperial County. So that's very exciting. We really received a very warm welcome from the community. We had 2,400 people come through our retail store grand opening day. So very exciting. We have an employment center there, which is also being kept very busy. And we're getting ready next month to open the outlet center portion of that facility.
So, again, it's a big operation. Like you have, I think at one point you told me over the years that, you are one of the biggest recyclers in San Diego, right?
Well, certainly the original. So the way the process works is that materials are donated to us. They go into our retail stores. They have a certain shelf life. If they're not sold, they move there to an outlet center, or they're sold by the piece, by the tote, or by auction through like a big bin. Kind of a really fun and exciting process because there's still a lot of treasure to be found at the outlet centers. And then from there, the product is recycled, baled and recycled and sold that way.
Now, San Diego has Goodwill San Diego. Is there a Goodwill in every big city?
So there's 156 independent Goodwills that are all overseen by Goodwill Industries International across the country in Canada and a few other countries. So that's the way that we're set up. And the reason that we're set up that way is like us for San Diego and Imperial County, the revenue that we generate and the services that we provide stay in our community. So we are local.
But the affiliation is helpful, just branding?
Partly branding, but a lot of oversight, a lot of collaboration. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're working together. We're learning from each other. We're sharing resources that way.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where, like on the ranking, like how big is Goodwill San Diego compared to the other ones?
I don't know our exact ranking. We're definitely a larger Goodwill or an upper mid-level Goodwill, I would say, because we have 300 million Goodwills. Right. Goodwills that generate revenue of 300 million. So we're clearly not in that ranking, but we do all right.
And a large employer. You said 1,200 employees?
1,260 right now. Yes, we are one of the largest employers in San Diego County. So that is exciting, especially because of the 58%, right?
Now, if someone goes through your program and guessing they're going through an employment process with you, you're learning, identifying what skills or gaps that they may need to want to be able to be successful in long-term employment. So what's the percentage, or or like of people who go and then they stay with you, or do they then learn those skills and then go and acquire additional employment down the road somewhere else?
I do think that there's a mix. We certainly have employees that have been with us 30 plus years. Our CEO has been with us 26 years. So we definitely have those folks that like the work environment and decide to get involved with our career pathway program and start fulfilling those steps to be ready for promotion. And any given month, we have more than 100 promotions within the organization.
Really?
We do. But partly, that is also due to not only growth, but attrition. So we need people to get opportunities elsewhere and begin to move up so that opportunities are available for those, waiting on the bench. Um, and things like that happen naturally, right? People move, things change.
Well, and I think that's good, kind of why Good Brothers Foundation has been working on this project for building this training program, because we know there's 12,000 nonprofits in San Diego, right? That's a lot of nonprofits. And a lot of them are always constantly hiring, right? And people are either moving from one organization to the other based off of maybe job title, salary, benefits, whatever that may be, healthcare.
Absolutely.
But then trying to get people to stay if they want to stay, move if they need to move, just right. We want to be able to continue have people with upward mobility within their careers. But I love that you're saying, if you want to stay within your organization, great. And if there's a role for you, amazing, as it's worked out for your CEO, Tony, right? Who's been there, you said 26 years?
26 years, and she started in the HR department. And actually, I believe she was a district manager on our retail side and then moved into the HR side and then, moved her way up.
All the way up. That's pretty
All
amazing.
the way up.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I think a lot of people, especially in our training program, are hearing just a lot of misconceptions about the nonprofit space. Like, oh, you don't make any money. You're a nonprofit. No, we do good salaries, right? We got to do this good work. Someone's got to be paid for it. But also that, it's okay to move from one organization to the other. Hopefully you acquire the skills that you want and it's rewarding for you. If you can stay, great. If not, there's other opportunities out there too. So it also sounds like there's some upward mobility with you getting people in and through. So if you can upskill someone, right, and then they can move to another role, then that gives you opportunity for these individuals who are learning about Goodwill, going through your training programs and getting them a job, because there's obviously some availability for jobs openings.
Absolutely. Through our paid training program, that's a 3-month hands-on program that's in retail and donations and e-commerce and transportation. I think that that's a part-time or full-time position. It's a 3-month program. And then when you've completed the program, you're ready for permanent employment. You can apply or employment elsewhere. And through the career advisors at our community employment centers, we help them through that process. So, and many of the folks that come into, or most of the folks that come into our paid training program, have no work experience. So this is a great place for them to start and to learn and then determine, whether or not this is the right career pathway for them.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you said paid training program.
Paid, yes. Paid.
I think that is a lifelong goal of mine. Is I think nonprofits for so long were just offering programs and hoping that intrinsically someone was connected to a mission that they would want to go and do that work. And it was usually non-paid, whether it's or volunteer type roles, right? But yours is saying, no, we're doing paid training program, get you some experience for a resume, get you back into the workforce so that you can build some confidence, you can sharpen some skills that you may need sharpening, right? So that it gets you ready and prepared for that next move in your career. That's really amazing that you guys do that.
Oh, thank you, John. I think we're really proud of the work that we do. And of course, there's big celebration around, the paid training program graduates. I know that there's a young lady that started through the paid training program. Now she's mentoring other paid trainees at her outlet center, and she's an assistant manager there. So she's really moved up. Another similar situation with a young woman at our Midway store. She also started through the paid training program, is also now an assistant manager. And, you can just see her beaming with confidence, loving the work that she's doing. And so when you see the impact that it's had right there in front of you, with you, people you're working with, it makes everything that we do worthwhile.
How many employment centers did you say you had?
We have 6.
6. And they're scattered all over the county?
Yeah, we just, this year, we opened our first one in East County after many years. So that's at our La Mesa retail store. We have one in the parking lot of our San Isidro retail store. one inside our Chula Vista East retail store. We have one in Oceanside, one in Escondido, and one there at corporate at Midway.
So if anyone's listening or knows of someone who might be a good fit, can they just walk into one of these employment
They
centers?
absolutely can just walk into any community employment center, a Goodwill Community Employment Center. They can also get online at sdgoodwill.org and make an appointment
Oh,
or set up an online appointment in English or in Spanish.
wow.
Mm.
How many people go through this program?
Through the paid training program,
Mhm.
oh my goodness. I think last year we had more than 1,000 people go through the program.
Wow.
And then, again, not everyone graduates
Sure.
and not everyone stays on. But I would say our success rate is pretty high, definitely more than half.
That's amazing. And it's good for someone to try something, right? So you're saying this may not be 100% what you end up doing, but it's at least a good taste to go through a training program, identify if this is good for them, right? But then also learning some skills along the way is a win-win.
Well, absolutely. I think, with e-commerce, you may not stay in that field, but maybe you've gained some great photography skills, some good listing skills. You're learning things that are really relevant in the marketplace today.
Mm.
I think with retail, again, retail may not be for everybody, but you're learning how to work with people. You're learning possibly or eventually how to manage people,
Mm.
how to accomplish things throughout the day that can be applied to any business,
Yeah.
right? And then in transportation, again, that may not be for everyone, but if you're a truck helper, if that can lead to a great career.
Hmm. Well, and a lot of transferable skills. So if you learn,
Right.
customer service just in general is such an important, you know, trait and quality to do well. And if you can use that and apply that in any other future job, I mean, sounds like you're learning all sorts of technical and soft
Soft
skills
skills.
that are really critical for people to master to do well in their careers.
Right.
That's exciting.
I remember once when we first met and we were in an elevator together, and you said to me, my dream would be for all of us to no longer have work, for all nonprofits to go out of business because all of our missions have been met. And, I think just by doing this program and getting the word out and letting people know what it is that we're here to achieve really pushes us all towards that end in mind that you have.
Yeah, I mean, there's 12,000 nonprofits in San Diego. It just that number is astronomical, and I just wish that our systems, right, or our government, they wish there was endless amounts of money, so we could be spending money on helping individuals, especially those that you are serving, get jobs and believe in themselves and have the technical skills and the soft skills to be able to do that. Unfortunately, we don't. So Goodwill is a great organization that's coming in and solving so many problems, right? You have household items and things you don't want anymore. So instead of sending it to a landfill, you get to go and take it and let that treasure be someone else's treasure and allow them an opportunity to do something. Plus, then you've got this amazing program where you're helping people who really, really need support to get into a career that, or at least learning new skills so that they can then relaunch or start a career for themselves. It's a win-win-win-win-win. It's really exciting. Yeah. So you said earlier that you have a mobile employment center.
Yes,
I want to
do.
know so much more about this. Tell us.
So we converted a motorhome into a mobile employment center. It's equipped with everything that our brick and mortar employment center has in it. So it's got the computer workstations, the career advisor, all the bells and whistles, and it's mobile. So if you're having a hiring event and you want to have our mobile employment center come, we will make that happen. And it's just a great way to overcome transportation barriers that job seekers may have, and meet them where they are, right?
Oh, absolutely. So does this go all over San Diego?
It does, and Imperial County as well.
Imperial.
And so it's great for some of our rural communities where, we have a retail store in Ramona, we have a retail store in Alpine, but we do not have an employment center there.
Mm.
So then we can really reach out and meet with those communities.
Yeah. Okay, so if people can engage with you in all sorts of ways, whether they're looking for a career, um, learning some skills, and go through your training program, a paid training program, I
Thank
will
you.
add, but also for those who aren't and maybe, have careers and things, but still donating household items. Um, is there a limit to the amount of household items you can
Oh,
donate?
bring ya.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. We'll put them to good use.
I just dropped off last week 3 bags, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about that because that's kind of exciting. I don't think most people know how big of an operation that donation side of things is. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So we have 50 donation centers throughout the county. Some are remote and are like a container. Some are an independent shop where all they do is receive donations. But most of them are the ones that you drive through at our retail stores that most people are familiar with. And so a lot of job training happens at our donation centers. Folks are really getting great customer service skills, as you mentioned, and really learning how to problem solve. If someone drives up with a mattress, we don't accept mattresses, how to handle that situation
Mm.
and make sure you're directing them and providing them with service and solving the issue of where does this mattress need to go. So that's
Where does a mattress go?
well, we have
I don't know
partners.
that answer.
We have partners that do take Bye Bye Mattress as one of them. They
Mm.
accept those mattresses and refurbish them, tear them down and reuse the materials.
Oh.
So, and they have locations throughout the county. So we have that information available, and we really want to redirect people, with their used cleaning supplies, uh, toxic waste,
Mm.
things that we can't handle, but we have people in our community, like you mentioned, 12,000 nonprofits. There's probably a few out there handling
Yeah.
some of this, diverting some of this waste.
Well, and
Eh,
sorry to cut you off.
No.
I think it's a good segue of saying, wow, what a really great soft skill to learn, right? Someone who's like, okay, I just strapped this mattress on top of my car and
Brought it here.
grateful it didn't fly off as I was driving down here, and maybe not in the best of moods, right? And they show up and now they're told, oh, we can't actually accept that, right? And
That's
so
right.
learning how to kind of de-escalate and help someone solve that problem and say, no, okay, we can't do that. Because
Here's
now they're
why,
educating them, like,
right?
why you don't do that,
Right. We don't
not
have,
just taking everything.
right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
And then,
But here, you can take it here. Here's their locations. Here's when they're open. They can help you. Solving the problem does de-escalate the
Mhm.
situation, right? Because it is frustrating,
Mhm.
and you don't understand,
Yeah,
and you have gone through all that effort, like you mentioned.
that's great. Yeah, I will shout out to your Balboa location. I was just there last week, and the gentleman that was helping me was very, very helpful and very nice, and
That's so
told me which
good.
bin to put my bag into. I appreciate that.
Outstanding.
So when it comes to just, getting these treasures, like I'm sure, I think the last time you were on our show, you talked a little bit about some of the cool finds that you guys have found over the years. Tell us a little bit of some of the cool stuff you might find that people just donate and don't realize has value or something like that.
So I need to tell you about another shopping opportunity that we have.
Oh.
So it's called shopgoodwill.com, and they do sell a lot of our luxury items. So handbags, jewelry, Lululemon, things that are in really mint or new with tags type of products. So if you go to shopgoodwill.com, you can still shop from San Diego. We have quite a few pages on the site where we're selling some amazing products, but the treasure also can still be found in the store. I often find things that are new with tags that I'm excited about. I was in one of the stores recently shopping for my 80s Halloween costume, and I found a really great, like a Zell sweatshirt that really fit my vibe and it was just perfect. My husband had said to me before we, left the house, can we just go to one Goodwill and find everything we need? I'm like, oh, I really, okay. And so we did. We went to one store. I found everything I needed. He found everything he needed, and we were ready for our event that evening. And it was $35, So it
Wow.
was really outstanding and great stuff. And I'm like, well, this sweatshirt is perfect for my costume, but I'm going to wear it after, my morning walks, and it's a little chilly. It's starting to get cooler. So there's still so much to be found. A great place to do your back to school shopping.
So you've been with Goodwill for about 9 years.
Yes,
Um, you obviously went through a pandemic.
we did.
How did that affect Goodwill?
It really was, I think the magic word during that time was pivot, right? We all heard that. And we really did have to pivot. So we took all of our services that were in person, we brought them all online, and just meeting our job seekers where they were. It was a really difficult time for us. We did lay off a large majority of our workforce. It's very painful, very emotional, not only for those of us that remained, but those that were with us for that short period of time. There's, a lot of fear, a lot of unknowns. We did work through it together. Most of them were able to return, which was really a beautiful thing to see. It felt like family reuniting.
Mm.
And, it was hard. We depend on our social enterprise, meaning those donations, those store purchases, and all of that was completely halted.
Mm.
So all of our job training, all of the employment that we provide.
Did you see an uptick of donations once things kind of went back online? I mean, or
Oh, yes. And it was
imagine,
even during,
yeah,
we were really having to fight off all the, we're home and we're cleaning everything out and we're bringing it to you. We don't care that you're closed, and so that was a struggle because we didn't have the manpower. But
I was one of those people,
you're
right?
right.
Going through, you're like, what am I going to do today? Well, that closet's been on my to-do list for a while. So, yeah,
It's
I
a
can
perfect
imagine.
time. I may never have this chance
Yeah.
again.
Wow.
Right?
So it was,
Yes.
you were dealing with all sorts of things. An
All
influx of
sorts of
donations, which is helpful, but at the same time, no one to process them. So how do you handle that?
right.
And then just the pandemic in general, what's going on in the world,
Of course.
and then having to then kind of bring people back and then
Make sure it's a safe environment, right? So
Mhm.
that they would be confident and happy to return. And I really think, especially my boss, our CEO, just had a really great vision for that. I think leadership came together. We had a lot of good ideas, and I think we executed that as best we could under the circumstances. I think we did a tremendous job.
Amazing. Well, okay. So as we before we go to our next segment, let's recap. So you're doing a ton of work, right? So you've got the social service type of work you're doing. You're doing employment. You're doing the retail shops. You're doing everything. So if you know someone out there who is interested in, you know, learning some new skills, right? So some
Right.
workforce development skills to like get in there and really understand how um, to get back to work. Great opportunity. Go visit one of your employment centers.
Yes.
Go to your website to learn where
Yes.
those are. So,
Yes. And we're talking about great positions, John. Right now we're hiring for a recruitment manager. In El Centro, we're looking for a store manager. We're looking for supervisors at many of our locations. We're looking for a learning and development instructor. So it's a wide variety and some really great opportunities to learn and grow. Some do require prior experience, and some do not.
wonderful. All right. So before we wrap up, we're going to play our next segment here we call Three Wishes. So imagine there's a genie here and you're going to get three wishes. What would your first wish be?
Excuse me. That's a very hard question. And so, of course, professionally, my wish would be that all people with disabilities and other barriers to employment could find employment here in San Diego or Imperial County. Of course, that would be one my professional wish. Um, my personal wish, you know, you talked earlier about teleporting somewhere. It might be to have that chance to go back and say the things I didn't get to say that I really wished I'd said. And then, of course, I think this is on everyone's mind right now, globally, which is just really for peace in our world as we see so much strife and conflict, and we think about not only our future, but the future of my grandbaby and all of those that are coming up. So definitely that's something that's weighing on my mind right now.
I love that. Great wishes. All right. Well, that's it for today's show. Darlene, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being a friend, a colleague, a great partner. I love that you are super creative. You think outside of the box. You're innovative. I just am excited that you're in this space doing this good work because you're really good at what you do. So,
Oh,
and I
thank you,
appreciate
John. I feel the same about you.
I love that. All right. Well, for those of you who are listening and want to check out Goodwill website,
sdgoodwill.org or ivgoodwill.org.
great. There are lots of opportunities, training opportunities. And if you're interested also in learning about other training programs in San Diego nonprofit sector, also go to goodforothers.org to learn about our free training program that can also give you the technical skills and soft skills to land a great job at maybe Goodwill or any of the other 12,000 nonprofits here in San Diego. With that, thank you so much again, Darlene, for joining us. We're really excited to have you. Stay tuned for our next show, for the Good for Others show. We're really excited. We hope that you have learned something today that has inspired you to do good for others.